Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight 3 video, I want to talk about the Forged and just give you a starter build to help you get through Act 3 of the story. This build has been played up until about level, I think 57 or 58 at time of recording the video. And I'm going to say up front, out of the 4 classes, the Forged was by far the most challenging for me personally, which actually really was a fun experience to try to put myself and try to figure out that puzzle. Then again, I did play melee, but in this guide I'm going to focus more on just getting you through and what I think would be the easiest experience for you as a Forged. I do have a text guide down below if you do want to follow it. That's what I use to get through, and my theory crafted build that I then tested all the way up to level 60. In this build guide video, it may stray a little bit away from that text guide, and that's okay. I'm just going to tell you what I would do if I had to do a Forged from level 1 all the way through Act 3 again and wasn't doing the silly melee challenge. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? Let's go ahead and talk Forged on Torchlight 3. So when you very first start out playing Forged, the game's going to give you Rapid Fire. That's the skill that you're going to start with, and it's a decent ranged ability. It doesn't do loads of damage and does not pierce at the beginning, so keep that in mind. It's going to be a really slow go when you very first start out. You're going to be kiting mobs and having to use that to mow them down. Once you level up to level 2, I recommend taking Vortex. This is a vent skill. So real quick, and I explained it in my Forged overview video. If you haven't checked that out, there's a card up top. I recommend you check that out first. It gives a nice overview of all the skills in the class in general. But back to the leveling guide here. The way it works real quick for you is the Forged does use heat. As you use abilities, you generate up a heat meter. You can see down on the bottom right. And once that heat meter is full, you can't cast any more heat generators, and you have to then use a spender to disperse that heat. So with that in mind, when you first start, only having that rapid fire can be a little bit limiting. That's why I recommend picking up your Vortex Bomb vent skill. And basically what this is it's a more of a melee type ability, but it pulls enemies in, and that's all it's going to do initially. So at level 2, grab your Vortex Bomb, and then immediately at level 3, I would pick up Rapid Strike, just so that you can have a melee skill to kind of start experimenting with and kind of see what you like best for yourself. Maybe you totally hate ranged and like the way that Rapid Strikes plays. You never know until you try it. So, and it never hurts. Also, the tier 2 ability that you can get, it takes a little bit of point investment, is you get more brawl damage for all your brawl skills. So at this point you'll be level 3, and then I would recommend putting in another point into either one of your damage dealing abilities to get a little bit more damage. I think it's like 5% more damage or something like that. But honestly, what I would do is I'd probably, at level 4, put my point into Vortex Bomb. The tier 3 bonus on this thing is sick. And if you're following the text guide link below, you can see I waited till later on in the leveling process to pick up the tier 3 bonus. Just because when I read it, I didn't think it sounded all that awesome. But it's actually really good. I'll just show you real quick here. It shoots out all 4 of those, hits all the enemies, and it actually ends up doing a load of damage. So I would try to get Vortex Bomb tier 3 as soon as you can. So once you're level 5, then you have access to Ramming Robot. This is a mobility type charge ability. I personally didn't go this route just simply because when you use a potion, you knock back enemies. But definitely could be good for mobility, getting around the map a little bit quicker, as well as getting a relic active skill damage. So what that means is your relic comes with an active skill. I'm using Blood Drinker on this character, and Spinning Blade is the active ability. So that's what would get the damage buff. And while we're on the topic of relics, I would recommend, if you're not doing a melee build and you're planning to do more of a ranged or a safe type of build, I would recommend going with Flaming Destroyer just to get some burn damage, and you'll see some synergies with your coal launch and Furnace Blast skills that gives you more damage to bring enemies, but we'll talk about all that here shortly. So at this point, you've decided if you want to take Ramming Robot or not. You know, it doesn't hurt to throw a point in. You get Respectacles quite a lot during the game. It's not going to hurt to just try a skill. You may love it, you may hate it. So if it's your first time playing Forged, check it out. Definitely not my skill of choice. Instead, at level 5, I would highly recommend picking up Coal Launch so that you have a second vent ability. You may recall that back here with our Vortex Bomb, we already have event ability. However, it does have quite a long cooldown when you very first get it. You can see I have some CDR, some cooldown reduction on it from leveling it up to level 10. But when you first get it, the cooldown will be a bit long, and it's definitely nice to have another way to vent that heat as an alternative. Also, Coal Launch acts as a range type ability. When you first get it, the area won't be as big as this one is. This is because it's maxed out. And it also won't have these meteors. That's another skill tier that you get on there as well. But it's nice to have a ranged ability so you can kind of shoot mobs and burn them and kind of kite them through that burning AoE damage. Highly recommend Coal Launch for the vent. Now, Shotgun Blast. If you're trying to do a ranged build, I would highly recommend Shotgun Blast. It does not have a load of range, but the trade-off is it's a frontal cone ability that actually pierces enemies and is really good for groups of mobs. And also the same here with Poison Dart, which will be around level 10 is when you unlock your tier 3 skills. Poison Dart is really good for AoE. I can show it to you here if I can put the point in there. But it has really good AoE. You can stack that then on top of your Coal Launch or whatever if you want to. And it also synergizes really well with Bane if you decide to use that relic. That's a that's kind of the pet relic, but you know, like I said, I would probably recommend the Flaming Destroyer just so you can get more burning out and have a little bit of synergy there. Which here's the Flaming Destroyer. I guess since I did recommend it, I should probably show the active skill. It's a sword slice. Pretty cool. So at that point, you'll be around level 10. You know, I do recommend getting Poison Dart. However, if you're trying to go the melee route, this is going to be, this is still the skill I'm using at my level, almost level 60 build, is this Uppercut. It generates more heat, has this chance to stun, does AoE damage, and also hits double on your third hit when you get the third tier. It's just a really good, fun skill for melee. Now, if you're going ranged, obviously I wouldn't pick that one up, but it's all really up to you. I would recommend if it's your first time playing and you're playing on Ridiculous, I would really recommend the ranged route. It just is so much safer, and yeah, melee was a challenge when I did it, so I would recommend going the ranged route. So I'll kind of teeter between both, but I'll just get you up here until level 20, and then we'll kind of talk through some little things that you can look out for along the way while you're getting through Act 3. The very last Tier 3 skill is your Power Projection. I almost forgot about the skill because currently, at the time of recording the skill, I think the Tier 1 bonus is bugged. It doesn't actually heal. Decent utility skill. Maybe if you're doing melee, I would consider working this in a little bit. But if you're doing the ranged route, like I recommend for leveling, I probably just wouldn't even worry about that skill, to be honest with you. Level 15, you unlock your Tier 4 bonus, and on the Brawler, which is the melee tree, you can get the Spin to Win skill. This is what it looks like. Don't recommend it if you're doing the ranged route and following the leveling guide like I'm recommending, but it does give you a passive to kind of life leech, so you can see why that's good for melee. Again, wouldn't use it in the ranged build, leveling builds, so the Tier 4 skills then for your ranged is Sonic Pulse. I would definitely recommend this skill. Basically, what this skill does is when you use it, all of the enemies that you hit take 40% more damage for 6 seconds. You can also make it stun. You can make your relic active, have a little bit more cooldown reduction. You can even have it so on your Tier 3 that it pulses around you as well. Because when you first get it, you can see it's cast on cursor. Okay? I would recommend that, definitely, and also Slug Shot, so level 15 is when you can get these. The Slug Shot is the nice sniper ability. I would highly recommend picking this up. This would probably be your #1 damage dealer. And to be honest, at this point, I would probably replace your Rapid Fire if you're still using that skill, that is. Yeah, I would probably go all the way with Slug Shot. To be honest, it just does so much freaking damage, dude. And also you can get the tier bonuses real quick. You can get critical hit chance for the skill. You can also get critical hit chance for all of your barrage skills. And then every 5th Slug Shot always crits and deals double damage, dude. This is a lot. This is a lot of damage, okay? Barrage is definitely the way I would recommend leveling. And last but not least over here in Brawl, Fracking Strike, I would not use this for leveling. I definitely, it has a few interesting things you can do that we'll talk about in a different guide for the melee kind of build. But yeah, for ranged, I would just not use that, to be honest with you, man. And last but not least, your Furnace Blast is a decent skill. It's a decent skill. And probably would work pretty well with the ranged build. I guess this build has been more of a theory crafting session and has actually made me really, really inspired to go now make another ranged forge. I haven't played one since Frontiers, but I did experiment with all of these skills basically while leveling up on the melee forge. So this would be a really nice starter build to get you off and make you pretty strong, I think, to get through this story and through Act 3. So anyway, so when I make my range forge, this is going to be my setup at this point in the game, is my toolbar right here using the Flaming Destroyer as well. But basically, I don't have a relic active on here, and I did that basically so that I can have the Shotgun Blast AoE if I need it, while also having the Slug Shot ability for the sniping. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of kiting involved with this, but I think the damage you're going to dish out is going to be insane. So basically the way it would work is you go through a pack, you Sonic Pulse them so that they're debuffed, and then I would hit them with a Poison Dart to get that AoE stacked up, and then Coal Launch. And then by that time you have them all standing in your AoE, and you can just spam your Slug Shot, or if you need to, your Shotgun Blast based on the circumstances. And then if you have excess heat and your Coal Launch is on cooldown, what you could do is use your Furnace Blast, and then that'll also light them on fire. I think this build right here will get you definitely off on the right foot and help get you through Act 3. I know that this video was short and sweet, hopefully, and to the point. But yeah, this was my Forge starter build and theory crafting, I guess, with Idodmg. I'm gonna put this build now to the test. I've already kind of done the melee build type thing, and we'll have that later on down the road, but for now, I hope that you enjoyed this Forge starter build. If you enjoy all the videos and all the content here on the YouTube channel, please do like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It means the world to me. I can't thank you enough for your time and support in this awesome journey of YouTube and streaming and just talking about video games and being a true nerd like I love to do. It's just so awesome, man. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.